Welcome to the SAP FINUG webinar together with Westernacher today. My name is Aleksi Rustolo-Karhu. I'm an executive director at the SAP FINUG, and today we have experts Matthias, Michael, and Aki from Westernacher talk about very interesting yard management product. But before I let these experts to take the stage, I would briefly go through the practicalities of the webinar and take a quick look at the FINUG upcoming events. So you as an attendee are muted on this webinar, but you will get the webinar recording and also the presentation materials afterwards with the feedback message during this week. Feel free to use the Q&A feature of the Zoom, and we will try to have a couple of minutes at the end to answer your questions and comments. You can type them in at any time during the webinar. I think that was the practicalities, and let's take a look now at the upcoming FINUG events. Next week there will be Lean IX event, a webinar with Westernacher Consulting, very practical customer case. If you're interested, feel free to join. And ALM, Application Lifecycle Management events are end of March for the user members, and also ALM Roadshow is open for everybody. That will be 9th of April. Feel free to read more on our webpage, sapfinug.fi/tapahtuma. And of course, the big events, ERP simulation and RACE 2027 seminars are coming. And new event this year is the Adoption Catalyst. If you're going to the cloud and you are our user member, check it out, because we have a very, very interesting agenda from SAP in Espoo coming. Okay, that's about the events. And now for today's topic, and we are going to be introduced to the V-Yard. I will now give the virtual stage to Matthias, Mikael, and Aki. Have a good one.
Yes, thank you. So those who don't know, this is Westernacher, and in one slide quickly, we are 1,200 today. These are last year's numbers, and we are fully owned by ourselves. We are fully focusing on SAP, being in market for decades. We are fully carbon neutral, very proud of that, which is fairly easy for us in professional services business, but the main point is that we support our customers being net zero or even negative. We are best known from our customer projects in S4 and especially digital supply chain, including integrated business planning on IPP, SAC, PPDS, etc. On SAP-based warehousing in EWM, in transportation, in TM and business networks, and of course Yard, which we are speaking more today. If you can go one slide forward, thank you. Just quickly, some other events which are in our calendar already. You can find more at our website. First one is a public cloud success story in UK with a customer called Price Check. The session is tomorrow. Very exciting case. Please feel free to join. Second topic, which is around Signavio and Lean IX. Very active topic, modern tools to facilitate the process and solution architect alignment. This session is later in March. And if you happen to visit this huge event in Stuttgart this week, starting today, don't miss our booth. There's lots of exciting stuff around supply chain management. Yes, we know there's a lot of consultants or consultant profiles online today. If you're thinking your next chapter, please reach out in any of these domains. Thank you so much. And back to our specialists. Please go ahead and have fun. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Aki, and also thanks a lot, Aleksi. for inviting us today to speak here at FINUG. So my name is Michael Augustin. I'm the Global Director of our yard practice here at Westernacher, working and being engaged in yard projects and yard processes now for the past 7 years. So what we have planned for today is we will quickly talk a little bit about the state of the union of yard management and why it is important to implement a yard management system. And Matthias then later on is going to show you our latest innovation in that area, which is WeYard, which is an SAP-based add-on for yard management processes. So if we are looking at yard management processes, and Matthias, please go to the next slide. Across multiple industries that typically deal with yard management processes, we typically tend to see the same business challenges. So whether you are a customer or whether you are a company in the retail or consumer goods industry that is doing distribution or production warehouses, whether it's a chemical customer from the process industry or agrochemical industry, whether it's terminal supports or whether it's even automotive manufacturing, the challenges and the business challenges that arise around yard management tend to be the same. We are talking a lot about visibility, accuracy, and transparency. So basically knowing exactly what's going on, having also the visibility with regards to what's right now on site, where are certain trailers. Also, of course, increasing a lot the efficiency. So making sure that we are keeping up with the throughput rates. That's something which tends to be always a problem, that, for example, trucks tend to arrive always in the morning and afternoon at the same time. And if I don't spread this out and if I don't have a process in place, that of course comes with with a lot of challenges. With that, also the entire gate operation topic is very crucial. So you kind of make or break the entire process from a yard management perspective at the gate. If the driver of truck or if a rail car or whatever is arriving into the yard and you do not really have a good process in place at the gates in order to facilitate that process, this is where most of the time is being basically lost in the overall process. And then, of course, what also is one of the biggest challenges as of today is that a lot of yard management processes are still covered either through manual processes or paper-based processes in Excel, where people are just trying to maintain certain timestamps in an Excel sheet or locations of trailers or trucks in a yard on Excel sheets, potentially talking through walkie-talkies with each other in order to get the process up and running. And these are typically the problems and the business challenges that we see across multiple industries. Next slide. So why is it important to tackle these challenges, and what is it that we can expect implementing a yard management system in the overall context of a holistic supply chain? So there are a lot of factors that can solve these business challenges, that can provide tangible business benefits, and then also give you a return on investment in the end of the day. So we have talked about the entire visibility topic. This is, of course, a major topic that we can address through improving accuracy and transparency, but also increasing the process efficiency by implementing a yard management tool that is capable of executing and running the process and also structuring the process in a certain way. One topic which is also extremely important for customers that are running multiple sites is process standardization. You do not want to have every time in the different sites a different process. It's very costly to maintain such processes if everyone is basically doing whatever they want. And that's one thing where you want to ideally standardize processes as much as possible to ensure also that you facilitate the overall process with warehousing and transportation. One topic very important, in the end of the day, we always have customers that we want to make happy. And if we basically create a bottleneck from a yard perspective, that we have a problem to ship on time in a good quality, that's of course something that will, in the end of the day, affect customer service. So we are trying to minimize delays as possible, but also with that, implementing a yard management system also opens up other value-added services that we can offer towards a customer when it comes to real-time tracking, for example, live inspections of goods, while they are arriving or while they are departing the site. And that's something which typically customers do benefit a lot, because there is a tendency in the market as well that due to the evolving technology, more and more visibility is overall required between all the stakeholders. And last but not least, we are always talking from an ROI perspective, of course, what's in there in terms of also cost reduction. So the significant cost reduction comes around demurrage and detention, but also, of course, through the more efficient processes. In the end of the day, we are talking about cost reduction of the overall running, the overall yard management process from an internal perspective. What's interesting is what we have here below. So these are typical results that we are seeing in our implementation projects when we are implementing yard management tools with our customers in the first 6 to 9 months after basically going live and having stabilized the systems. And that's what we are seeing. So roughly a 30% increase in yard efficiency and productivity. So that's basically the overall yard utilization, but also the time it overall takes in order to execute the process from check-in to check-out. We do see huge speed up process at the gate for check-in and check-out processes. From an operational perspective, up to 250,000, in this case, it's euro. For basically per site that we can achieve in terms of cost reduction. And what nowadays is, of course, extremely important, Aki mentioned this already in the company intro, is that from a sustainability perspective, we can reduce up to 50% in fuel consumption of internal resources that, for example, are shunting vehicles, but also if a truck, instead of spending 60 minutes, only spends 45 minutes on site, that of course also plays into that we can save a significant amount of CO2 that is being emitted during the yard process. All right, next slide. So what is it that we from Westernacher are actually offering in terms of our solution portfolio when it comes to yard management? There are multiple topics that we are offering. I would just very briefly touch all of them, but the focus, of course, is today on WeYard. So there is the standard SAP module for yard management processes, which is SAP Yard Logistics for S/4HANA. SAP Yard Logistics for S/4HANA was started by SAP in 2017. We were the first partner back in the days to do the global first implementation with a company in Germany. And since then, we have also done a lot of projects in that area. SAP Yard Logistics, as I said, being the standard product from SAP, is especially tailored towards larger sites, complex and automated yards that really require very heavy yard management processes. There is some limited functionality also in the business network, which is also standard for gate operations, but that is really limited just to a tool to basically allow drivers in and out and do very simple gate operations without any complexity. And then if we are looking at the bottom of the slide, you see that we have WeYard. So this is what we are going to talk about today, which is our yard management tool based on SAP, managing manual and simple sites. For example, typical trucking yards with a distribution warehouse or production warehouse that I require yard management capabilities from gate operations over yard execution, printing, visibility, and all the good stuff. And we also do have for certain yard processes dedicated applications, for example, for slot booking and also for check-in, called WeSlot and WeCheck-in, to cover these processes alone, which do also offer certain complexity in managing these processes. All right. This is what we are, in the end of the day, always telling our customers, because in light of the yard management discussion, a lot of times the problem is that a lot of our customers don't know that they have a problem. And this is how we see it, and this is also the journey that we are trying to embrace with our customers. So the bottom line is, the more manual and the less digitized your yard is, the longer things take. So the longer you will have to deal with the process, and in the end of the day, the value is non-existent. So depending on the maturity of our customers, but also, of course, their processes and what the end state looks like, we are trying to at least take our customers into the first two lines here, the holistic yard or the digital yard, which is either the full automated yard, including IoT connectivity, including hardware integration, to fully automate the yard where people don't even touch any system anymore, where drivers, for example, register themselves, where everything is done automatically. But at least that's the stage before that, where most of our customers are basically ending up into, is the digital yard, where we focus on end-to-end process integrations, making sure that the supply chain starts working holistically and seamlessly between warehousing, transportation, and yard, covering processes in the yard through mobile scenarios, and overall digitizing the entire process in the yard. Okay.
Good. Then I think it's my turn to take over. Just as a short introduction, my name is Matthias Platzer. I am the practice director for yard logistics in UK and Ireland. And yeah, now in the second chapter, I will give you, first of all, a theoretic overview of WeYard, of the business benefits and the process coverage of our new solution. We start with the building blocks of WeYard. So the yard planning, the gate operations. Sorry, I just need to minimize this. Yeah, the yard planning, the gate operations, and the yard execution. These are our 3 building blocks to navigate trucks through the yard with WeYard. Starting at the very beginning, the yard planning. The yard planning is actually the stage before the execution starts with the gate operations. So meaning everything that is beforehand available already as information. Yeah. We plan the yard visits for vehicle arrivals. Yeah, as you see, also in the name already, we are talking not only about trucks, we are talking about trailers, we are talking about other types of transportation that would run up to a yard. Important is that we receive as much information as possible, yeah, from either ECC or S4HANA directly before the visit happens, just to have the information in place to start planning the visit with different scenarios. So either it is a loading, unloading, drop and trailer, hook and trailer, or drop and hook, scenario. So this is everything that can be actually customized to your needs in WeYard. Yeah, and I think the most important thing here of the yard planning are the business benefits. We see this in the next slide. So we have a full visibility into the expected vehicle arrivals, and we can pre-plan before the operations are actually performed. And we have a complete transparency of the expected workload in the yard before the operation starts in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks. So we do have it available to have also forecast of the expected workload over the next couple of weeks, months, whatever period we are looking into. This is also, I think, necessary to highlight here. WeYard comes with this planning engine. Yeah, so we have this building block in here to proactively plan ahead of time and not only start with the execution and the monitoring of operations. Yeah, so this is the better the plan is, the better is your utilization and later on in the yard. And going over to the gate operations, our next building block, this marks actually the start of the execution. So this is the check-in of trucks and trailers until, we also need to highlight this here, the check-out of the trucks and the trailers. We capture the actual time of arrival, the actual time of departure, etc. And very important, we also wanted with WeYard, we wanted to go more into capturing everything for the checkout. Yeah, meaning in this case, this is printing of transportation documents and perform the last checks at the gate just to make sure that this vehicle that is standing in front of the barrier is actually in the process state when it can leave the yard. Yeah, when it can leave the yard and every other planned operations are already executed. And what is captured between or in the process of the gate control of the arriving vehicle? We capture the last remaining bits and pieces that we need for identifying the truck. Yeah, this could be the license plate, the driver name, and as said, the arrival time. And the gate operations also mark the start of moving the truck through the yard, meaning the active steering of processes, the active steering of external vehicles over the yard. Yeah. So, for example, to parking lots or the loading bays or to warehouse doors, etc. But these locations, these are assigned at the time of arrival and the check-in. Good. I think I highlighted already the transportation documents that we print at the very end. So also emphasis on the checkout procedure here in VYard. And moving over to our third building block, the yard execution itself. Oh, already almost forgot the business benefits of the gate operations. Of course, a lean gate operation is leading to increased gate throughput. Yeah, so we're reducing delays, we are minimizing the handling time, the throughput time of the gate itself. Yeah, and we are optimizing the routing from the gate to the door or from the door to the gate again. Yeah, so meaning the overall throughput is already optimized just by implementing this gate operations. And of course, we have a clear visibility when it comes to the compliance and security, yeah, through the standardized checks, yeah, and the standardized entry and exit controls that we have in place at the very entry and exit of the yard. And we have a detailed recording, of course, of the vehicle's arrivals. So as I mentioned, the actual time of arrival, the actual time of departure, we have a real-time inventory tracking and visibility throughout the life cycle of the truck in the yard. So throughout the life cycle of the vehicle visit to the yard. Now to the third building block, the yard execution. The yard execution is itself a process flow reflected by actions that are in a certain sequence to be performed while the vehicle is visiting the yard. Meaning, each and every vehicle visit will have their predefined and pre-planned from the yard planning activities and actions that are already foreseen to be executed. We will track and execute these activities. So this is actually how we manage these vehicles through the yard. Yeah. Once again, taking times of inspections, taking time of loading activities, taking times of movements itself. Yeah. And also the movements with the target destinations, with the destination locations, etc. So this is everything that a truck, a vehicle is usually experiencing on the yard. We will manage with our yard execution. We do have several checklists in place, yeah, to ensure that we complete everything, that we have a consistent process, a business process in place, and that we have the compliance of the vehicle. And as we know, we need measurements on the yard, and this is also something that we can capture and track directly within our building block of the yard execution. And measurements could be everything, yeah, temperature, weight, or product characteristics. Also important to highlight here, everything in this activity flows, in this sequence of actions, etc. This is fully configurable, dependent on the needs of your yard. Yeah. So every operation, every yard comes with its own requirements. Yeah, this is why a yard management tool needs to be very flexible, and we reflect this also in VYard with these configurable actions. Yeah, so of course we want to standardize the processes within the yard, but we will see, even if we standardize, we will never standardize it just to one simple flow. Yeah, it will always be different process variations that we encounter in yards. Just in the nature of the loading operations, of the unloading operations, it is a difference whether you are acting with bulk material or with pelletized goods, etc. This is something that needs to be reflected and managed by the system, and you can only do this if you have different process variations in place and managed by the system. Yard execution from the business perspective, from the business benefits, is also giving you a sufficient and paperless real-time tracking of the process. So it is a digital process in place afterwards. There is no need to have anything tracked in Excel or with pen and paper anymore. We do offer also the monitoring of the activities and an exception handling, of course. Whenever the pre-planned actions that we had from yard planning, whenever we encounter an exceptional case, we can of course react to that within our yard. Good. And of course, with the movements and with the target locations within our actions, we have the most efficient movement possibility through the yard, and we will use an optimized routing of vehicles through the yard. That was now a very theoretic overview of WeYard and our new solution. We now go directly into the system. We will show now a system demo with the highlights actually of the new solution, and we will run through a very basic and very standard process for yards. So we will start with the planning block or with the building block of yard planning, with the registering of the visit, via ERP or TM that is then being handed over to WeYard. We will see a check-in, we will go to an inspection, we will have a weighing, we will have the load. So these are all the actions, the way out, the validation, the printing of the documents, and then the checkout itself. We will go to highlights of this process. We won't show the whole procedure because this will actually take too long to show everything here. And also keep in mind, we are showing this directly in the solution itself, meaning in the so-called backend of the system. So we are not showing mobile scenarios at the moment. We are not showing integration to other systems. We are really highlighting now how the system looks like to give you a look and feel of the backend. I will stop sharing for a minute and start a video with the system insights. So you can see this. I just need to get the timestamps to give you the overview. So first of all, when we enter WeYard, you see this is SAP technology. So it's very important. WeYard is built within SAP technology, within SAP system environment. So each and every user, as you see here, will experience the same functionality that he would see with other SAP modules within other SAP systems, meaning also the users, they would just log on to their SAP system. And as you see, they have different tiles, and WeYard are one of the tiles just to get into the system. So a user wouldn't even see the difference between, for example, an extended warehouse management system and WeYard. And as you see here, we are using the list views, table views that are already available in SAP Fiori as a best practice. We have the filtering, the sequencing and so on, as you would know them from other SAP solutions with other SAP technology. I'm jumping now a little bit to go to the registering of visits. This is what we are showing now manually. Usually this would be taken over, of course, by the interface from ERP or from TM to WeYard. As you see here, we do have in our planning stage already the yard as an entity. We have the visit type, that this is a loading, and we already register an external ID to identify the planned pager for the visit of the truck driver, for example. And very important, to start our planning with the actions, with the timestamps, we need the planned arrival time, and we also need the planned departure date and time. So this is, once again, this information would come automatically from the subsequent system. So in this case, ERP or TM, we are just showing this now. This is actually the most basic information that we need to plan a truck visit or a vehicle visit, or to plan the operations for this. So see here, we have our different vehicle types in place. So this is also configuration. So meaning we adjust with VYard exactly to your needs from your specific yard. So whether you're using gigaliners, whether you're using truck and trailer combinations, or whether you're using just trailers, etc., we will always reflect your real life requirements in the system. Important also the linking to the other systems of SAP. In this case, we would see a delivery out of ERP. We would see a freight order out of TM. This is one document flow then, as we know it from the SAP environment, that we have everything as a document flow, and we can always see the origin of documents. We can always see the origin of information and the source of data. And as you see here, once we have everything ready, we blend everything, everything is available, we start to blend the visit itself. Okay, I will now switch over to the start of the execution, with the gate management. So this is marking then the start of the execution. Once again, this is something that we show now in the back end, just as a disclaimer. This would usually run, of course, on mobile devices, on kiosk terminals, etc. In this case, this is done in the system itself by a yard planner, by a clerk at the gate, or at from a receptionist, actually. So we would see all the different documents according to the selection here. So meaning everything that waits, for example, in front of the gate already. And now we start registering the remaining details that we need for the truck visit when it wasn't handed over before. For example, then the driver, etc. We will see this. We also see on, sorry, I just need to back up because I need to highlight this. You also see on the right-hand side already the pre-blend actions for this truck. So this was, we didn't see that even before. This is automatically done by the system based on certain criteria, on business rules, etc. Now, if we go into the registering, you would then see everything that remains as info, or that is not filled now. We need to fill now with live, just to register, to identify the truck or the trailer within the yard itself. So in our case, we need the driver name, we need the subcontractor. This is also emphasis on this, that we not only register the blend carrier, we will also register the subcontractor, which is just more to the business requirements out there, that of course not the carrier arrives with the truck, but the subcontractor with that. And you see all the various information that is already available about the truck. We can add additional transportation documents. We can already change certain specifics about the truck, etc., if they are known. And just to finish this off, this is then, of course, the check-in itself. With the first action, we process this action. Now we see that the processing status, the life cycle status is changed to active, and that the truck is on site. And with the on site, we already start the execution, but I think we go a little bit ahead. So you see the different actions that are planned here, the site entry, the inspection, the weigh-in, etc. So this is the execution itself. I think we can highlight, for example, the weigh-in, to see where this is stored. This would be here, just to give you an idea how different data fields are used within VYard. This would be the weigh-in now. So the truck already moved to the weigh bridge. We now get the tear weight of the truck itself, and we see the planned net weight, we see the max cross weight, we see the the cross weight at the moment, etc. Then the loading itself, we process this. Once again, this is now in here. This would usually be triggered from a third system, a warehouse management system. We saw the validation already. Yeah. So we need to enter an actual net weight. Yeah. Otherwise, we can't perform this action. As you see, this is one of the checklists that we implemented here. So when we are doing a loading, we need to capture the actual net weight to actively perform this. And now we can process this. And I am moving forward a little bit to the very validation at the end. So it is now a way out, etc. Yeah. But I will switch over to directly the validation at the very end. So this is before the documents are printed. One last validation then of the drug itself, and with certain checks that are performed now. Let's see, with the actual net weight. We are changing this because the validation was actually that the cross weight, or we are changing this now that we see that the cross weight is over the allowed cross weight of 40 tons. If we try to process this action now, we get an error message because the cross weight is more than allowed. So we change the actual net weight again. So this is just for you to see that we have these validations in place of weights and also measurements that get into this process here. We are now getting over to one of the last steps. This is the printing of documents. Of course, WIAT comes with certain templates. We can always add your specific printouts throughout the process. So this doesn't necessarily need to sit at the very end. This can also come directly from the warehouse store. In this case, we see that this is printed already at the gate, yeah, before the checkout. And we see our template here of a bill of lading. You can open this here. You can print it. Yeah. One of the printing documents that can be generated directly out of the system. And the very last point then is actually the checkout. I will move forward to that. We see our truck now leaves the premises again, and every action is finished. The document itself is in a state that the truck can leave the premises, and we see the processing status changing over to departed. This was very briefly one example process flow of our new solution, yeah, of WIAT. We are now ready to take questions, and in this case, I'm reaching out to Michael and Aki. Can you check actually the Q&A if we have some questions available?
Thanks, Matthias. Looking at our chat, obviously there's room for more, but actually I have a few questions already. Meanwhile, please feel free to post more questions on chat, everyone. So, okay, starting from the first one, implementation options for WIAT. How long it typically takes to implement?
And I think you take this. Yeah, you're the expert on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I can take this. So great question. So a typical WIAT implementation starts at 12 weeks. So that is a minimum package that we are offering. So which is basically an implementation in where we are implementing WIAT without any additional developments. So this means we are setting up the project. We are doing a walkthrough WIAT a little bit more detailed than what you have seen today. We are installing WIAT into your SAP landscape. We do the configuration of the processes, help with integration testing, user training, and also then user acceptance testing, of course, and go into a 3-week period where we technically go live and also do the hypercare. Yeah, so that's on a very rough note the let's say starter package that we call. But of course, if we identify that there is more to do, then typically these projects extend by 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, so 12 to 16 weeks is a timeline that we would typically see.
Wow. Okay. Quite quick compared to many other. Yes. Second, how can I get that solution? How do I get the V-Yard?
I can take that one as well. So as of now, V-Yard, you can directly basically get it from us, from Westernacher. What we are doing is that we are directly installing V-Yard onto our customers' landscapes. Technically speaking, it's happening through transport requests that are being installed into the landscape. Going forward, the plan is absolutely to also have V-Yard in the SAP store, that you can also purchase V-Yard through the SAP store, and that is something that is being worked on right now.
Perfect.
Okay, and one more on my list, implementation cost to V-Yard and license cost. Is there any recurring license or subscription cost for V-Yard?
I think this is also for you, Michael.
I can take it, no problem. So implementation cost wise, it's a little bit difficult to say what exactly it costs. Yeah, but with 12 months with 12-week implementation timeline, you can imagine that the cost is not super high. And the second question was around licensing. So there is no license per se. It's, as I've said, right? It's an add-on that you can purchase at a one-time fee, and that one-time fee basically includes all the installation efforts that are required. It's built in, and to basically also build it into your system landscape. From then onwards, there is no reoccurring monthly subscription or licensing or whatsoever. There's just a one-time fee that we are charging, plus the implementation efforts that are required, and that's basically then the package that we are selling. And to put a little bit of a price tag there, just to give a feeling. But again, this is something which is always something which is up to definition. But typically these projects range somewhere between 200,000 and 250,000 euro, is what we are seeing.
Okay, so quite good business case.
Absolutely.
Seeing those benefits earlier, quite quick
Absolutely.
return of investment. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Good.
Thanks.
All right.
I think there are no more questions then.
Yes, I also see that there are at the moment no more questions, but if somebody's typing, please type the question or comment. We have still time. In the meanwhile, thank you very much.
Maybe
Matthias.
just question from my side personally. If I had already EWM and TM, or they are in my pipeline, should I consider this one in between, or should I consider the standard YL from SAP?
This is actually depending on the use case and on the business case. Yeah. So it's more a question on the yard processes and where do you want to end up with in terms of automation and how complex actually the yard operations would be. So what is definitely is that yard logistics from SAP is the solution for highly automation and highly complex yards. So when we see very high complex operations like inspections and automated filling, calculation, and so on. So what is out there? Then the use case would usually be for yard logistics. When we see more manual yards, when we see more simple sites, this would be a use case for V-Yard. Yeah. So from the integration perspective, both are the same. Yeah. So they're always in the middle of transportation management and extended warehouse management. So they are bridging the gap, both of them. And it's simply just a question on how complex the yard operations are. And this is really a decision that you need to take after taking into consideration how many yards or which yards you want to equip with a yard management solution.
And just to add one more thing there, we've also seen customers already doing both. Yeah. So it's exactly what Matthias is saying. The more complex the processes are, this is where you tend to go into your logistics. But we also, if you have a wide global distribution network of multiple sites, not every site has the same requirements. And then you can also think about just deploying both yard logistics as well as yard, depending on the complexity and level of processes that are required.
Okay, good. I'm happy. Hope the audience as well. I'm not seeing more questions arrive, but if anything, please reach out. Let's have another session and answer to any of your questions in your business. Happy to speak for more details and involve great expertise by Matthias and Michael.
That's great. Make sure that your contact information is also on the PowerPoint.
We will do
presentation,
that.
so
yes.
Then people can be in contact. And many thanks for everybody who was listening, and thanks for the questions. And thanks, Michael, Matthias, and Aki, for the presentations. You will receive the recording afterwards.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a nice Tuesday, everybody.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.